myself, my name is Peter Stewart and I'm a 6th Dan instructor at LISBURN Taekwondo Club in Lisburn in Northern Ireland, part of the UK.
Hey, my name is Mark Warburton. I run Sarnia Olympic Taekwondo, which is a club in southwestern Ontario in Canada.
Hello, 사부님. Thank you for asking this interview. I hope my English is okay for this interview.
Okay guys, I'm Coach Andersson, head coach SHIN Taekwondo Club in Sweden, also been national team coach in Sweden for 15 years.
Hi, my name is Master Richard Allen from Allen Taekwondo Academy.
Hi guys, my name is Gordon from Inspire Taekwondo based in Sydney.
Hello everyone, my name is ASENIA PULINA. I am from Bulgaria, RAZLOG. Now I am senior instructor, black belt and 2nd Dan.
Hi guys, my name is TAEKYUNG, instructor of the Taekwondo 7th Dan.
Well, our experience so far is that as you can see from the background, we train at home now for the past few weeks during the COVID-19 incidents. We no longer go to the Dojang, and even if we go to the Dojang, we only see only one person also training.
I start my Dojang during 1 week, and 1 week later I reopened my Dojang, but nobody comes. So I just did my work at my Dojang. It was empty, I was alone, but every day present to Dojang, I did my work. And now some students come back and I am teaching them.
Like many people around the world, the Taekwondo experience over the last few months is that dojangs, public gyms and school halls have all been closed for the last 3 months and been unable to access these. So if you're teaching in classes here in Australia, no school halls, no sports centres and even private dojangs have been cut off. Most people doing what a lot of people around the world are doing, makeshift dojangs wherever they can make them, or sneaking into the dojang and doing online classes, which has been awesome, I think, for the Taekwondo community, to keep us all together.
We were quarantined for about 2 months. After that we were starting training outdoor in the park. About a month ago we start our training in our dojang. Every day I measure the temperature of my athletes before training.
Before the COVID-19, I have the 2 different places, lent the 2 different places, the school hall and community center hall, and I teaching the Taekwondo to the students. It's mostly kids. Now, after the COVID-19 pandemics, the school is closed, so also a community center is closed, so I can rent the hall. So after 2 weeks later, we started the online classes. First for 3-4 times, we just all together online class we did.
Many people are focused on things they couldn't do despite the difficult times. Dojang, I refuse to disappoint my students and myself.
When this first hit and the pandemic closed down the leisure centre, I was quite keen to keep the classes going as best I could. And I put a text out to all the parents about what we can do and how we can move forward. And I wanted to go live as quickly as possible, but I didn't have an awful lot of knowledge with the IT of it. But it was a parent who had set me up with a Zoom account and set me up with a webcam. I was very lucky where I have my own garage at home here already laid out as part of a gym, so I was able to actually train here and do train here. So I was kind of one step ahead of the game as far as that was concerned, that I was ready to go. Within 2 days of the pandemic hitting and the building closed down, we were good to go. We were set up with Zoom and we were running classes. Our first Zoom class, we had 25 students on from the club, which was great. and we've been running 3 sessions every week since that, and the numbers have been good. So it's not ideal, but it definitely is keeping us going, and there's good core between the club who are actually still training, which is great to see.
The situation for the COVID-19 lockdown for us was a little bit different than other regions and countries and places. When it started, when the lockdown started, the kids here were just beginning the March break, which is they have a week break from school every spring. And it's kind of like spring break in college and stuff like that. So it coincided with that. The lockdown started right at the start of the March break. So we were already running a bit of a limited schedule anyways if we would have been at the gym. So I decided to just take that week off completely. And the week after, I started the Zoom classes. And that first week, it allowed me to see what other clubs and other coaches and programs and even people in other sports and things were doing as far as how to run the online classes, how to structure things a little bit differently. So by the time the second week of the lockdown came, it was pretty easy. We jumped right into it. I was running sessions 4 days a week, a couple of different groups split apart for my students, because my club, I have students ranging from like a 4-year-old recreational beginner to a mom who's doing classes with her children as a family, and then I also have national competitors and stuff like that are coming up. So it was different in the way that I had to structure the sessions and the groups, because obviously we can't run a full schedule. We can't do things like sparring or hoga drills or contact stuff or things like that. Even a lot of the kids, they didn't at the beginning, they didn't have pads, they didn't have shields or bobs or bags or anything at the beginning. So in a way, I feel like this situation was good for a lot of coaches, because although a lot of coaches do like to be open-minded a lot of times and think outside the box, some more so than others, it forced every instructor to think a little bit more about how we're going to structure our sessions and how, okay, well, we can't do this, we can't do that, and what are we going to do instead, and what can we work on in areas that maybe we don't normally get enough focus on at the Dojang, like things like maybe a general preparatory or like mobility or things like that, right? So I find that even though it's not an optimal situation, none of us really wanted to be in this situation. I think a lot of good things did come out of this in the way of us being creative as instructors, us being more receptive as coaches to limitations that different students might have, not only physically, but in their surroundings. Like I remember the first week we were run sessions, we first log on, and obviously we don't all know what our students' homes look like, or gardens, or whatever. And after about a week or so, I start to be able to plan the sessions out a little bit better, because I know, like, for example, this child has their whole garden. This child has a heavy bag. This person's parents have targets. And me understanding as a coach what I was expecting to see in the little windows on Zoom every day, it allowed me to prepare for the session a little bit better. Like I knew that in my third session of the day, I'm going to have mainly my competitive team athletes. And I know most of them have targets, and they have the parents that can hold the targets for them. And it worked out really well, I find, in that, because only the first week of it was a little bit awkward. After that, it was pretty much smooth sailing. And I think that it's done a lot of good, because my students and other clubs that I've sat in on, coaches have said the same things, is that everybody's gotten technically more proficient over this lockdown. And I think that if you ask every single club instructor out there, 9 out of 10 are probably going to say that their students, because they have no choice other than to kick in the thin air or work on technical stuff, they're going to find that their students are more technically sound now. Like the technique looks better. Whereas before, we all know, especially the ones that do like the sport taekwondo, we want to go back leg on a pad or something. We don't always throw like a proper back leg in the traditional martial arts sense, because that's not necessarily what works in the modern game of taekwondo. Like you have to kick a little bit crooked to score on the system sometimes. So I'm finding that when I look at my own students, that their kicks look more beautiful. They look more like really high quality martial arts fundamentals, which a lot of us myself included as coaches, we neglect it sometimes when it comes to those that compete and do competitions and stuff like that. So that's overall how I look at how we've progressed as a group over the COVID situation. And as the 3 months have gone on, many of my students have acquired mats on the floor, pads to kick. Mom and dad now look like coaches when they hold the pads, because they've been holding the pads for the kids for 3 months now, and they look like proper coaches. So it's really cool in that way, I find, because I can say, okay, we're gonna go back leg, shift back, double kick, and the parents can hold for it now. And I find that kind of cool personally. So that's my opinion on that segment.
I think it's very, very clear that Sweden, for all of you, that Sweden has had a very special strategy. We haven't really shut down the country like almost all other countries have done. Of course, there are things, the schools, the higher schools has been shut down, but most stores, gyms, fitness centers, the whole country has been open, of course with some limits on how to handle things, and one important thing has been that they told us that maximum 50 people gathered at the same place, and also a lot of restrictions of hygiene and so on. So what happened when they took this decision is, of course, the club, we have been training as normal. Sounds strange, I know, for everybody, but we have changed a little the way to conduct the training. When we have had the possibility, we have taken away all the close contact. We have more focus on hygiene, washing the hands and cleaning the place and so on. Not really shaking the hands all the time, but most of the times now the training has been looking exactly the same. But of course, since it's very clear that no one that are sick or maybe believe they're infected, they can't go to any place. So what happened, of course, we have lost a lot of people. We lost people that's of course sick and they should be away, but also we have lost people that are afraid of COVID. And it's not just the kids, it can be they have maybe parents or grandparents that are in the risk group, so they have taken that responsibility to really stay away from training or meeting with other people. So I think we have a fitness center, and we have the Taekwondo part. We have around 1,200 members, but I think what we can see in the statistics, it's maybe 50% down. So, of course, we have felt it. And also one thing that we have felt very clear is when it's no tournaments, when it's no training camps, nothing, the motivation around people is, it has gone down a lot. So I think that also in the longer term maybe is the worst thing here in Sweden and maybe in the whole world. So what we hope for now is the government confirmed that we now can start with tournaments again in just maybe 1 month time. Of course, they have set some limits. We can't have audience, we can't have people watching the tournaments, but it's allowed to have tournaments. So directly when they open up for arranging camps again and arranging tournaments, I think the motivation will come back to people. And our responsibility is, of course, to have it very controlled, very restricted, so people around the training facility doesn't get affected.
I say, for those who are training in Taekwondo, whether you're a one-day warrior or a 5-day-a-week Taekwondo practitioner, keep going. Doesn't matter what's happening. If you can't make it to your Dojang, keep training. Keep on practicing the stuff you know at home. There's lots of stuff out there to get information. If your Dojang is one of these Dojangs that are not offering online sessions, just keep on practicing what you know and keep yourself active, keep yourself fit, keep yourself flexible. I think that's very important.
My advice is, while they train, they should stick to the rules of social distancing, ensure they wear face masks, ensure that they stick to the rule of hygiene, because COVID-19 is real, and many people have been recorded dead all over the world. So it's better for us to stick to the rules of engagement as it requires to COVID-19. After all, Taekwondo and martial arts is a discipline sport.
So what advice I would give to those who are having trouble because they're so used to training in a regular dojang or whatever. I mean, the lockdown's coming to an end. We're starting to slowly in different places introduce different reopening guidelines and procedures and things like that. But for some people, they're going to be in this situation a little bit longer. And after 3 months, you do see those students who start to kind of lose the motivation to log on their computer or their tablet or their phone and do a Taekwondo class. I just think that it really is going to make us appreciate our dojangs more when we go back to it. So what I'm trying to tell my students is, especially because here the weather is getting really nice, people want to be out in the swimming pool, they want to be hanging out playing in the yard or the garden, and I've been telling people that, you know, if you push yourself to put that little hour of Taekwondo practice in a day or whatever, you're really going to appreciate your dojang more when we get back to normal, because you've pushed through this, which is a completely unprecedented time that nobody expected and nobody was really prepared for. But two, they're also going to see when they get back to the school and they all see each other, because they're not seeing each other on the Zoom classes. They just see like the instructor in the window or the spotlight or whatever. But when they get back to the dojang, they're going to see each other and they're going to see themselves in the mirror, and they're going to be like, wow, like everybody's technically so much better now. And I feel like they're going to realize that this was a good thing. You know, I like to be a very glass half full, positive, optimistic kind of person. Find the positive in every situation, no matter what. And I'm trying to pass that on to my students. Like, yes, this is an awkward time. It's a time that we didn't really want to be in. But if you sit back and you think about the positives that can come out of it, a lot of good things can come out of this situation, depending on your perception of it, right? So that's what I would say to those, is just like, push through it, even on the days where you don't feel like it. And then when we do get back to normal, it's going to be even that much better than it was before, when you really were used to it.
I can advise like my government says, get on the mask and wash your hands and make a distance with the other people. And you can training at home, like Pumse or Beijing movement of the Taekwondo. You don't need many space, so like this at the home, like them. So I suggest training at home and never stop your training.
I have friends all over the world, and I really feel sad because I know many of you are gym owners or business holders. I know how you feel, and it's tough to see your maybe life work going down. But for the kids and the ones, adults and senior and elite players, you know, time will come. So it's just what I tell my students is eye on the target, and in the end it's like the strong will survive. My opinion is, if you have a mindset that you can twist it so you do things that other people wouldn't do now, that can be a really huge advantage. For example, my team, I just tell them all the time, they have a huge advantage now because we're training such good physical training, so we will be like Superman, Superwoman, everybody. So you need to find just a different mindset and keep the eyes on the future.
I would like to advise all Taekwondo players around the world to follow anti-epidemic measures, because the most important thing in this situation is to stay healthy.
So I think we should keep touching, and we have to give the feeling to students we're still together practicing. So, physical activity is also one of the body habits. So if you usually body habits over the 3 months, if you didn't or couldn't practicing, also it's very difficult to come back to the practice. So I hope it's people practicing even less than 2 weeks is one time. Even, I think hopes that it's online or outside or whatever. I think we have to keep touching and practicing together in online.
So what would my advice be to people around the world? My advice would be just to try and get stuck in and try out different Zoom classes that are online. Most people are doing these, most of them are doing them for free. All you need to do is get the login and the ID just to join into these sessions. I would thoroughly recommend going on to Zoom, trying to find classes, fitness classes, certainly Taekwondo classes, and seek out instructors and just keep training. Okay, so the benefits are great. People are still meeting up, people are still seeing their friends, carrying on with their training, which is great to see. So I thoroughly recommend it, no matter where you are in the world. Just try and get stuck in and keep training.
I strongly believe that no condition is permanent, and we should do the minimum we can do, even though we're in a confined space.
We have never been closed. We have been scared that they will shut down the gym and fitness center, but we have never been shut down. So really, the only thing we hope for is that the situation will get better, so we'll get back all the people that has taken the responsibility to stay away. So our hope is maybe after the summer, in August, September, that we again really up full time. We have changed also now during summertime. We try to conduct almost all trainings outside. This is now no snow in Sweden, and we have green grass, and it's most of the time beautiful weather. So this is one thing we have done, and we have tried to work a little also with digital training. So we'll see.
Oh, I can't wait to see the rest of the world. I can't wait. I miss the worldwide Taekwondo family. I miss every members of my class, my students, my instructors, and everybody, and the family.
The thing I'm looking most forward to when I get back to the Dojang is just seeing everybody again in person. Even though we're not going to be able to give high fives or do sparring or anything like that, to see everybody in person again and see the smiling faces and everybody stepping on the mats, kunye, key-upping and doing that kind of stuff, it's gonna make me very happy, because I find as coaches sometimes we get a little bit comfortable. Like, we get used to going to the Dojang, and it's like a routine almost, right? Even though we're changing our sessions day to day, it is a routine in what we're actually doing. We're going at the Dojang, we're teaching class, right? So even us as coaches, I think it's going to make us appreciate it more. We're going to appreciate it. Not that we don't appreciate it, because I love my students, but it's going to be even better. Like, I know the first day I walk in my Dojang and the class is about to start, and I see the students coming in for the session, I'm going to be happy. It's going to be like an emotional moment for me. Like, I'm going to love it. So that's the one thing I'm looking forward to, is just seeing people step on the mats and get ready to go. Like, I think that's going to be like the first time I hear someone in person, not on a computer screen. The first time I hear someone throw a kick and key up, I'm going to be happy. So that's the thing I'm looking forward to the most.
I'm sure I'm like many people, I'm looking forward to gyms opening back up and meeting up with our Taekwondo family. People in Dojangs aren't just instructors or just students. We're a Taekwondo family, and it tends to mean quite a lot to people, I think, whether you are the person who goes once a week or the person who goes 5 a week. 5 days per week is very important. You tend to, the people you train with become your friends and become your Taekwondo family.
Of course, it's meant students, before it's just as normal things, but now it's very special things. So of course, I met the students is and then so helping each other, giving them motivation and taking back the motivation. I hope that kind of moment coming soon.
What am I most looking forward to when I get back? Certainly just having the feel of having a club again. At the moment everybody seems quite distant, so it'll be great when the club is actually back within the building. Now, I don't believe for 1 second things will be back the way they were. I think it's going to take a very, very long time for things to become back to normal. But certainly with restricted numbers, it will still be good to see people within the club and certainly have face-to-face contact with them. What I miss most obviously is the sparring. I love the sparring side of it. And even whenever we're allowed back, it's highly unlikely that we'll be allowed close contact. So, but it'll be good to be back into that training environment, have everybody in the club, but certainly, yeah, the contact is quite a bit that I miss. So I'll certainly be enjoying getting back and getting the Kruger gear on and doing a wee bit more of that.
Technology is giving us an advantage to keep in touch with our students and their families, and we're looking forward to seeing them in person.
COVID-19 have really humbled the whole world, and I've learned so much that, look, despite all our powers, despite technology, despite advancing in sciences and technology, a common cold or common flu should stop the should stop the whole world. So this has humbled us, and that it's all about humanity. It shows that human beings have to come together to fight such evils like COVID-19 and the rest of the world. The COVID-19 has really taught us that unity. There is no tribalism. I mean, there is no ethnicity, there is no tribalism, and there is no color or racism in the threat that COVID-19 poses to humanity.
This experience is so hard. The corona is not your fault. So, just keep going your work. Safely. And I think in the future, paradigm of Taekwondo teaching will be changed. Like this, I'm in Korea, I can advise to you in Scotland. We can, because of the coronavirus, we cannot meet like before, but we can communicate by the device to device. So I think the teaching paradigm will be changed like this.
What I've been learning from this experience, take nothing for granted. You never know how things end up, and my biggest lesson is, of course, you need to think much more of what is maybe most important thing in life, and it will never be sports. In the end, it's about the family, the health for yourself and the close ones. So that's a mindset, and it's very easily forgotten that you just hunting the medals or hunting the results, but it's a reminder what's most important thing. And also one thing, if you're creative now, if you really have a mindset, entrepreneur mindset, it's open up opportunities. And for us, it has opened up new opportunities, new way to thinking, new way to conduct the training. So I think for the ones that really now use the mind in the right way, this just will make us stronger.
Big life lesson I would say is just don't take for granted what you have. We're very used to being able to come and go as we please, as many times as we like, and over the last few months that's also been taken away. So
the most important thing I learned is that people should appreciate what they have, work, school, dojang, because we can lose it in a moment.
It's personally, I learned from the pandemics. It's I feel like we are not ready for 21st century, but it's like 20th century, 1 century is already coming for us. So it's feel like it's not ready yet. but it's already 21 century is coming. So we should thinking differently, and we should looking for different way to going to the martial art. So this is big change time. So it's like I learned from this pandemic. I should thinking more differently and more openly. Yeah.
The most important thing that I think I've learned from this is just how to, like I touched on in the first question, is that it forces us to be a little more creative with how we give a class or teach a session or whatever. And I think that all of us are going to be much better instructors when we come back from this. We're all going to understand how to adapt even more than we already did. And those who might have had trouble before this adapting or being creative, they're going to be better as well. So it's really going to not just make the students rise up as martial arts students, but it's going to make the coaches and the instructors rise up as instructors too. And I think as a whole, even though we don't really know when competitions are going to start again, or what competitions are even going to look like again, or when things are going to be back to normal, I think eventually everybody's going to be better. Taekwondo is going to be better, and the sense of support within the Taekwondo community is going to be just much higher because of this.
Certainly what I've learned over the course of this is that not everybody is suited to being in front of a camera. Certainly I was quite nervous being in front of the camera at the start of these Zoom lessons, and certainly there's still students within the club who may come on to the virtual training but may not exactly want to be watched or seen on the video, and they have that turned off. There are people who will not do the online classes purely because they just don't want to be seen and it doesn't really suit them. Thankfully, out of our own club, we do have quite a lot of people who are still interested in it. We have between 20 and 40 people on training in most virtual classes, which is amazing for us. I'm a volunteer instructor. I don't rely on this as a livelihood for myself, so it's more of a hobby. But certainly for those instructors who use this as a livelihood, it's important to keep your players there, keep them training, and certainly just to keep everybody active in that way. In the future, even whenever we get back, I don't think the numbers will be the same. Certainly our membership has dropped. I've been watching a close eye on that. I've probably lost 20 or 30 members. For somebody who uses this as a livelihood, that has massive impact to them. I'm quite lucky that way, although it's my club and I've been running for 25 years. I hate to see numbers dropping off, and I will do what I can to encourage those people to come back when we're up and live and running in the club again. But certainly it's a massive learning curve, just how people can just disappear and drop off.
I would say that I have a dedicated student and supportive families, and I find satisfaction in my achievement. And I would say I will be more selective in who I invest my time and development in future.
Just keep going to Taekwondo. Okay? Bye.
Yes, I will advise them to stick to the rules, that is to keep safe, to ensure that they wear their face masks if they are going out, to stay at home and to keep hygiene, the required hygiene, and to make sure that they are safe from COVID-19. And to remember that they are disciplined and to keep training indoors. Thank you very much.
And in the end, what we're missing is the friends all over the world. Of course, you guys out there, we meet almost every weekend in tournaments, in training camps. Of course, I'm missing my friends all over there. And hopefully, this year, 2020, we will meet again. We will hug each other, not just the corona high. This is one thing. We miss you guys, and you will see Swedish Taekwondo and me, myself, and my students most likely in tournaments in the upcoming future.
And my advice for everyone around the world involved in Taekwondo at any level is just keep going. Do what you can. Keep your Taekwondo spirit alive. There's lots of information out there on the internet, whether it be quite right for what you're doing in Taekwondo. There's lots of good information, lots of good people. in the community, willing to either do online classes or sharing videos on YouTube. Yeah, so find out who the Rip Pro people are in your circles and check them out, okay?
I would like to wish all Taekwondo players around the world to be healthy, comply with anti-epidemic measures, and to believe in a better future, because everything will be fine. So don't stop smiling and training at home.
I think we are very lucky people for our generation people. I'm now 46 years old, and I'm doing Taekwondo from the 6 years old to now, so almost 40 years I'm doing Taekwondo. I think we are very lucky people because I can learning and teaching and making friends and have many good experience through the Taekwondo. So, but honestly, I'm not really thank you that's my Taekwondo things. You know, I'm very lucky to is Koreans can teaching Taekwondo. This is really lucky things. And also, this is a great gift from Korea to the world. I'm thinking like this. So, and we should think about how to the development to the Taekwondo be the future and be the thankful.
So I'd just like to encourage everybody to try and get back to training. If you have been missing training and the virtual training, you just don't think it would work. You don't need as big a space as this, okay? All you need is a 1 metre by 1 metre square, and you can train on the spot. You don't need to have a massive area. Certainly, if you haven't tried online classes, I would thoroughly recommend giving them a go with any of the instructors. I think you'll get more of a buzz out of it than you actually expect. I hope to see everybody training, and it'd be great to see everybody online. The busier these classes are online, the more ideas and the more that we can share between one another.
And if I had any advice I could give to the martial arts community for your last question there, is try to push yourself to do it. Try to push yourself to get on there and do your sessions, because I mean, all of us could probably agree as coaches, and we've never like seen an athlete who like trained real hard, gave 100%, you know, had the 100% focus and regretted it, you know. But we all know people, and even ourselves included, you know, who have given less than 100% and have been like, I wish I would have tried harder, right? So I think just telling everyone to keep focused, you know, even because it's more difficult. We have so many distractions. Like even right now, I'm answering your questions, and there's birds and there's all kinds of noise, and the neighbors are doing something over here. So it forces us to develop our focus, you know, to focus harder on visually listening and doing the exercises. So that would be my piece of advice, is just to keep pushing forward and don't let any of the distractions or anything ultimately distract you from what your goals probably are in Taekwondo, which is to be better at whatever element of Taekwondo you're pursuing or whatever martial art it is you're doing.
I would just say don't give up and carry on going. Thank you very much.
Stay safe and see you soon. Thank you. 고맙습니다. 감사합니다.
Fight hard, continue what you're doing, have strong beliefs, keep it up.
Good to speak to y'all guys. Have a safe time, keep safe, and remember, fighting.
We'll all be better after this. We'll all push through, and as a martial arts community, we're going to be much stronger after than we were before. Thanks. Yeah, thank you very much, Mark, for asking me for my input on this thing. I love your channel. I always recommend my students to subscribe to your channel and your podcasts, and it's an honor to be invited onto the Focus on Taekwondo channel and podcast. And I hope everybody gets something out of this whole situation, and I hope everybody can get something out of all the stuff that I'm sure all the other martial artists are going to give input for on here.